Hi, this is Miss Key, and this is my review of Ready to Love Season 5, Episode 7, The X Files. If you get anything out of my content, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Let's get started. So, before this episode began, I thought to myself, who's going home this week? Who do I think is going home this week? And I think that Tori or Eric, the chef, is going home. But Eric, it depends on what happened between him and Dakia. So, that was my first thought before everything got started. So they pick up where they left off 2 weeks ago because they made us wait. And Dakia is saying that she doesn't want to date Eric anymore, but she still wants to continue on with her process. Um, and I was thinking at this point, all the ladies are in the ladies' lounge talking with Tommy at this point. And I was thinking, it looks like the ladies already know what's going on by the look of their faces. But anyway, so Tommy lets them know that this week they are going to be introducing their top guys to their exes, and everybody's all apprehensive and everything like this. I'm like, y'all know, y'all have seen this show. Y'all know y'all gonna have to do this. Don't act surprised. Joy said she was nervous and everything. Everybody's looking nervous and scared. But that's their task for this week. And Tommy says he's going to talk with Eric the chef about what happened between him and Dakia. So we start out and we see Joy with her ex Sean. They're at a restaurant. She says she's still friends with her ex, and she introduces him to Laverne and Clifton. And I was thinking, why is Laverne here? Uh, I thought that he was, so into Ace and, that was his number one. So I'm just like, why is he here? But anyway, Clifton comes in and, in his confessional, he says that, he really is not interested in meeting anybody's ex. He was feeling negative about it. But he comes in, to meet Joy's ex, and Laverne's already there. So he asks Joy's ex if they still talk, and kind of what's the nature of their relationship. They flash back to his confessional, and he's pretty much saying, it's really no reason for an ex to be hanging around. It's not a good idea to keep that door open because they might want to still lurk and linger and things like that. So that was kind of where he was coming from with it. And Joy's ex, Sean, he says, jealousy won't get you anywhere. And Clifton said, oh, so you think I'm jealous? I just think he was just being real negative about meeting the ex. And again, this is the 5th season. Everybody knows that, this part of the game is going to come up. So to me, it's really no reason to be negative about it. I think it would probably be a thing to just go with the flow. It's a part of the show. Most people are not introducing their exes to their, necks or whatever. So anyway, we flash over to Eric, the chef, and Tommy. They're talking about the incident that happened with Dakia. Tommy asks Eric, how is he feeling? Eric says he doesn't feel very good. So he asks him, what happened? And Eric says that he hurt Dakia's feelings. And, he explains that they were, taking a picture, and she made a joke. And this is what Dakia said too in the ladies' lounge. Dakia made a joke saying, oh, we look like we're back to our high school days, because they were, he was standing behind her, kind of, holding her at the waist. And he said, oh, no, I got something for you. We grown now, something to that effect. And he said his hands went up. So I was like, oh, okay, did he try to touch her boobs? Or, I mean, that's what it kind of sounded like. And she said, no, don't touch me like that. And she, felt very disrespected, which she should have been. You shouldn't go around touching people, inappropriately. Um, so Eric, he says he's gonna bow out. He, doesn't feel like he's ready to love right now. He's gonna do some self-reflection. Tommy says he commends him on that, and so he's self-eliminated. And I was thinking, I guess he really didn't like Carmen that much, because, after things went south with the kid, he was out. So anyway, we go back over to Joy and Sean and Clifton and Laverne at the restaurant. And Sean is saying to Clifton, since he asked, what's the nature of their relationship, Sean says that they're friends. And it's nothing romantic between them anymore. I thought that Clifton was being just too serious. Again, the show is not new. This is not the first season. So we all know that they eventually meet the exes. Um, so after Clifton leaves and Laverne leaves, Sean, debriefs with Joy, and he says that actually, he did get more substance from Clifton, from their conversation during the date, than he did with Laverne. So he said he felt that Clifton was a better fit, but that he feels that he comes with risk because at one point in the conversation, Clifton says, that he did some work on himself and, he went to therapy and things like that. Um, and Joy, she really just seems all in. She's down for Clifton. So anyway, we see Carmen next with her ex Marcus, and she introduces him to Paul and Donovan. um Marcus, he was a decent looking guy. I thought he was looks like he was an older gentleman. He had the salt and pepper going on. He looked distinguished. So I was like, okay, Carmen, your ex is kind of cute. But anyway, then we see Ace and her ex Davon. I think Davon looks kind of young, but I can kind of see why they were together. She's like kind of earthy like, and he seems the same, like artsy kind of. So Ace wants to introduce him to Laverne and Tori. Okay. So um Laverne is there, and he's talking to the ex, and he's like, he's not a jealous man. I believe in his confessional. I can't remember whether it's his confessional or whether he said this out loud. I don't remember, but he says, he's confident when he comes into a room. Like, even if it was him and Barack Obama, Jay-Z, he still feels like he's the dopest in the room. I'm like, yeah, no, it is a fine line between having high self esteem and conceit. And then it's also a fine line between having a high self esteem and straight delusion. I think he's delusional in that scenario. But anyway, um, so we slide back over to Carmen and her ex. And her ex asks, the guys, what are their intentions? And Donovan says that he wants to allow her to grow and allow her to be herself, and he wants to make her happy. I was thinking, Donovan, you don't like Carmen like that. You just making up stuff at this point. Paul says that he wants Carmen to spend a little time being his girlfriend, and then a little time being his fiance, and then a lifetime being his wife. I was like, oh, okay, that was a decent answer. I guess he like her all like that. Anyway, um, but her ex brought up the fact that she's around a lot of celebrity men, and whoever she's with is going to be able to, have to be able to handle that. And Paul said he felt like he could handle it. Donovan said he felt like he can handle it as well. So then we slide back over to Ace and Laverne, her ex Davon, and also Tori is on this date. And Laverne is, talking about how, Ace gets his blood flowing. I was like, yuck, I don't need to hear about all this. And Davon, he asked the guys, do they feel like they are an alpha male? He says that she's an alpha. Um, so Tori says he doesn't see a point, in trying to dominate somebody. And, Laverne is, feels like he's an alpha man or whatever. So after they leave, Ace talks with Davon, and, she asks him what does he think about the guys. And he said that they both seem cool, but if she wants to lead, she needs to go with Tori. But if she wants to be led, she needs to go with Laverne. Like, oh, okay. I wouldn't be letting Laverne lead me nowhere. But anyway, so we slide on back to Carmen. Um, and she asked her ex after the fellas they leave. She asked her ex, what does he feel about, Paul and Donovan? And he actually felt like Paul's personality was soft. That's what he said. I don't think Paul is soft. I think that I think he tries too hard sometimes. And then because he tries so hard, I think he comes off um like he's not genuine sometimes. I just think he tries too hard, but I don't think he's soft at all. He said that he felt like Donovan would fit the role for her. The thing about it, I just don't think Donovan likes her all like that. I really don't. I think Paul likes her, best. But I just don't think she likes him like that. So I don't really think Carmen like nobody like that, actually. I think she's just around here trying to be on TV. But anyway, we slide on over to Sabrina, and her ex's name is Milton. And she wants Milton to meet Donovan, Tori, and Demetrius. And I was thinking, on first look, I thought that Sabrina's ex looked a little bit older, and he didn't really seem like what I would have expected her ex to be. But later on, when we saw him again in his street clothes rather than in the suit, I thought he looked younger in his street clothes for whatever reason. I liked her ex, actually. But anyway, Tori, he came on the date. He was just seeming, uninterested, uninvested. He was just pretty much there, like a blob. I thought he was being real negative. Donovan eventually joins them on the date, and he asks her ex, what would she need? And her ex says that she's into, like social justice and things like that. So, you know, I guess, she takes risks and things like that. And he said, don't try to talk her out of, taking those risks. Ex was good because he came on two separate occasions. He had the date with Tori and Donovan, and then he did a separate date with Demetrius. So I thought he was nice to take up his time like that. So when they showed him with Demetrius, he let him know that Sabrina will say something if she wants to be heard. And he also let him know that she likes to be included in decision making. Um, um, he actually asked the guys, do they think that it will work, right now if they had to choose? And Tori said, no, not right now. He doesn't think it will work like today if he had to choose. I guess it's some kinks they need to work out. Um, and the ex asked if they needed to choose today, you know, choose Sabrina today, would they? And Donovan said he would. He would choose Sabrina today. Um, and after the fellas left, so now we're to that part. I confused myself. But anyway, after they got to the part where the fellas left, the ex said, oh, you like him. He was talking about Donovan. He said he really felt like Sabrina was feeling Donovan a whole lot. He said that Tori really doesn't fit her personality. He said Demetrius was okay if you just wanted to build and survive, but he really felt like Donovan would make her happy. So, um, I thought that was good insight, and I thought I liked her ex. I wonder what happened between them. But anyway, so we slide on over to Tina and her ex BJ. And I just remember Tina saying that she liked older men and she was used to dating older men. And I was like, BJ looked young. I was expecting an older guy. But anyway, Paul said the same thing. He was like, BJ looked young. And then they also show Clifton meeting Dakia's ex. And Clifton, he's just negative again. He really is not interested in meeting these exes. I'm like, you seen the show. It's just no point in being negative about it. But he was being negative about it. Um, and Dakia's ex's name is Terrence. I noticed that when Clifton came in, they didn't shake hands. They greeted each other, and I just thought that was awkward. Um, and Terrence says, he heard good things about Clifton, and he was just like, "Oh, really?" So we slide back over to Tina and BJ and Demetrius and Paul. And Paul says when Demetrius came in that he didn't know that Demetrius and Tina had a connection. Um, Tina's ex BJ, he said, "What makes you feel like you're ready to love?" And Demetrius says that he was married before he got a divorce due to himself. He's been to counseling, and that has put him in the position of knowing that he's ready to love. Paul says he's looking for that queen, and he wants to shower her, with his love. So then we go on over to Dakia and Terrence and Clifton again. And Terrence, the ex, he asked Clifton if he's getting married. And Clifton said that he's been married 2 times. And he's not opposed to getting married again, but he wants to take it slow this time. And he makes a joke, at least I think he's making a joke that, if somebody trying to leave in his next marriage, they're going to have to die to get out. I really think he was joking. At least I hope. So then we go on back over to Paul and BJ and Tina and Demetrius. And Paul asks, when were they romantically involved, her and BJ? And BJ says they met in about 2003. And I'm like, well, says she's 31 years old. So I'm like, was they in the elementary school? But supposedly, they were in high school. So I'm a little confused about the math there. Um, but BJ talks about how at one point Tina broke his phone and she put a hole in the door, and I guess he was cheating. And then he mentioned that, if she not feeling you, she'll just cut you off. And Demetrius said that that was a red flag pretty much because he wants to, make sure that whoever he's with, that they are communicating, and, that they just won't cut him off and he doesn't even know what's going on. And I thought that was a good point. Um, Paul, in his confessional after they leave, he says that he noticed that BJ didn't tell him that Tina was ready to love. I'm like, how would he know? It seemed like they ain't know each other. They've known each other since we in elementary school. I'm like, and she cuts people off. He probably haven't even seen her since 2006. But anyway, um, so then we slide on over to Dakia and her ex, and Clifton. And she says that, she needs that man with drive, and, that they have that physicality, and, they're being all touchy feely. And, Clifton saying, he's flirting with her right in front of her ex on purpose. And he wants to see if she'll reciprocate just to make sure she doesn't have any feelings still for her ex. I was like, oh, okay. Now, with all the touchy feely and the sexy talk and everything like this, it made me think about something. Now, I don't feel like there's ever an excuse to touch someone inappropriately. That's never okay. But I'm wondering, all season, all of these singles have been like with the innuendos, the sexy talk, and the bedroom talk, and all this. And I wonder if any of that had anything to do with Eric thinking that, making him comfortable enough to think that it was okay to touch her, in such a way. Again, never an excuse to just touch somebody inappropriate, but I wonder with the atmosphere of how they talk to each other and they always talking sexual, if that made him comfortable enough to go there. Just a thought. But anyway, um so then we go on over to BJ and Tina. And BJ is telling Tina that he feels like Paul is a better fit for her. He said he feels like Paul is more outgoing, and that's, something that she would need. He said he feels like Demetrius is conservative, so I guess he doesn't think he's a bad guy. He just thinks that he's conservative. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. He seems like he's kind of quiet, but probably if you got to know him better, he would let loose a little bit more. So we go on back over to the ladies' lounge, and Tommy tells the ladies that Eric bowed out. He's out to self-reflect. Dakia says she feels like that's a good idea. They talk about the dates with the guys and their exes. Um, Joy mentions that Clifton had an issue with meeting the exes, but she feels like he handled it like a man. Dakia says that her and Clifton have a strong physical connection. Ace says that her ex Davon, that he asked questions that she hadn't asked yet, and she really got something out of the questions that she asked the fellas. I mean that he asked the fellas. Um, Sabrina said that her ex liked one of the D's, one of the guys with, a D in their name. So she didn't say whether it was Demetrius or Donovan, but we all know that it was Donovan. Carmen says that her ex also chose Donovan, and that he didn't think Paul would fit into her world, with the athletes. Um, Tina's ex said that he liked Paul more. Um, and that her ex felt like that Demetrius was more structured, and that makes sense. He was a military man. That makes a lot of sense. But anyway, so they talk about who the ladies are not feeling, and Sabrina says she's really not feeling Laverne. She just feels like things are platonic between him and her. Dakia says she's not feeling Laverne, that he had a strange negative energy, so she matched it. Tina says there's just no connection with Laverne or Tori. Carmen says that her and Laverne don't have a good connection, and that her and Tori don't have a connection. Joy says Tori and Demetrius. She said that she feels like the process is a bit much for Tori, and that he has been checked out ever since the incident, with the Truth or Dare. And Tommy asked Sabrina, does she agree about that, with Tori being checked out? And she said, yeah. And he said, do you feel like he got over it? And she was like, he did kiss somebody else. So I feel like, he seemed to be getting over it to me. Um, we all know that that was just, him being retaliating against. Well, he ain't really want to kiss Precious like that. But anyway, um, so then, Sabrina in her confessional says she's found out that he kissed Precious to get her back, and she felt like that was a turn off. I feel like it was immature, so I could see how that would be a turn off. Um, so then they show the ladies meeting with the men. Sabrina meets with Laverne, and Tori meets with Dakia. So Laverne, he just decides to act a whole butthole, and he was just acting a fool. He said he came in hot. He got wind that some of the ladies was trying to vote him off. So, he tried to get the words out before Sabrina could that he wasn't ready to love. She didn't even, at that point, we didn't know who would be going home. But I was like, just off the fact of how he was acting, he should have went home, and he did. And Tori and Dakia, they met, and she told him he was ready to love still. So that was that on that. I think I would have liked more information on, well, I guess we had enough as far as what happened between Dakia and Eric. So anyway, it was an okay episode. I'm looking forward to see what happens next. I almost forgot. So Laverne, when he was acting a fool, he says after it was all said and done that he was just gonna be, this was his last attempt on dating and love. I mean, the man's only 44 years old, so I think he said it's just gonna be him and his dog from now on. I was just like, so, oh, you're gonna be lonely from now on at 44? Okay, whatever. I feel sorry for the dog. But anyway, that was my review of Ready to Love, Season 5, Episode 7. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. See you next time. I can relate to that. But anyway,